Oh no, we spilled that idea. What does it say? Star Destroyers and X-Wings, the perfect pair? Well, let's have a closer look at it. You may have noticed before that the pairing of Star Destroyers and TIE Fighters doesn't make a lot of sense. Star Destroyers are huge, massive capital ships, designed to carry entire battalions of stormtroopers and Imperial Army troopers. It is more a mobile base than an actual warship. In addition, the Star Destroyers are designed to inspire fear in the people beneath them, or any pirate or rebel group trying to oppose the Empire. All of this makes sense with the design of the large triangle ships, which can hover in the atmosphere or rain down turbo laser fire. However, having a mobile base with immense firepower to inspire fear only makes sense if you can even find the dissidents. Or if you have enough ships to station one at every planet. Clearly, the second suggestion is impossible. Thus, what Star Destroyers should have is a scout ship or reconnaissance craft attached to them that can find any dissidents on its own, return and call in the Star Destroyer to clean up. Thus, TIE Fighters make no sense as the main support craft for the Star Destroyer. They do not have shields, nor hyperdrives, not even life support systems, and they cannot be deployed fast. TIE Fighters would make sense if the Star Destroyer was already alerted. Then it could launch hundreds of TIEs, jump with them into battle and completely overwhelm whatever enemy force might be there. But what if TIE Fighters were never meant to be paired with Star Destroyers that way? Here comes this idea: X-Wings were actually meant for Star Destroyers. What the Star Destroyers need is a long-range fighter craft, which can operate alone for days, discover pirate or rebel bases, possibly engage the enemy, escape, and return to a Star Destroyer. If this fighter is well designed, the Star Destroyer would need only a few of them, maybe a squadron or two, to police an entire sector. We can assume that not everyone in the Galactic Empire military was stupid. Someone must have had these thoughts too. And there is a ship in Star Wars that would fit that description perfectly, the X-Wing. What if, during the early days of the Empire, when Quad Drive Yards was designing the Imperial Star Destroyer, the Empire also ordered the matching reconnaissance fighter from the company that had built the previous version of it, Incom. As we know, Ciena got the job of designing and building the main fighter, the TIE, which would be needed in the thousands. But the reconnaissance craft would be a much smaller order, and it would not make sense to overlook a well-established and accomplished company such as Incom. This also explains where Incom got the money for research and development of the X-Wing directly from the government. They developed the X-Wing as the long-range scout for the Star Destroyers. This might also explain why the X-Wing is so pointy. It fits with the triangular shape of the Star Destroyer. But before the design was finalized, Incom defected to the rebellion, taking the X-Wing with it. This left the Empire with a capital ship without its intended support ship. It also left them with a flight academy system that had been set up to train the best and only the best of pilots. Originally, they were supposed to fly the X-Wing, all alone in sectors full of dangers, and were intended to be quick-thinking, agile and skilled to evade any pirate or rebel attack. But now, all the Empire had for them was TIE Fighters. Rather than start over, the Empire assigned TIEs to the Star Destroyers and placed the highly trained pilots into the shieldless death traps. The flight academies would continue to select only the best for 2 decades, even though they hardly had a fighter worth training so much for. While Ciena did design some variants of the TIE Fighters over the years, the Empire never filled the hole left by the X-Wing never being delivered, save with the TIE Defender, but that program never got off the ground. This idea gains additional credence when we look at the legend stories from the New Republic era. In that time, the New Republic often uses Star Destroyers alongside X-Wings, proving that they work extremely well together, arguably much better than with the A-Wing. The only other fighter craft that was also useful in conjunction with the Star Destroyer was the Chissclaw craft, which shared many similarities with the X-Wing and was likely the Chiss's replacement for the X-Wing that the Empire itself never came up with. And that's the idea. What do you think of it? Please note that everything presented here is simply the results of an experiment. No part of this presentation is intended as a correction of an existing story or claims to be the real story. The selection or omission of any parts of the source material is not to be understood as commentary, positive or negative, on the original productions. These are simply thoughts and experiments based on existing material, and none of it could be created without the work of all those involved in creating the original works. As with any scientific result, you may utilize any of the story ideas that resulted from these experiments for your own experiments or production, while citing this experiment as its source. Either way, it is time to clean this up. Goodbye, and until next time.